Hello, everybody. Can you all hear me? Can you all see me? Hello, Rain. Yellow Toad. Good to see you today. It's a big day in my second character's Warframe career experience. Rays, wonderful to see you. Thank you for joining me. Hester, hello. Hello to you. So, Odd Me, hello. Hello. Good to see you. Wonderful that you've joined me. There he is. Yellow. So, we made a bunch of progress, and then I made additional progress. So all I need to do is get a tile regular kill. Blood Lotus, hello. It is wonderful here. How is your day going? Does it make more sense to kill? I guess technically, yeah, you want to do Natah, then you want to get Tile Regor. And that makes more sense. Okay. So, we were fortunate enough to not get bugged and get the what do you call it, the talk quest to show up after we actually, it was pretty awesome. The very first node on Uranus there, it showed up, did my thing, all good. Getting green stuff going until I get different color palette. Trying to do this character with little to no money, because I do spend a fair bit. I don't use the market, so any platinum that you ever see on my account, that's that I've essentially you know what I found out? I never used the original shade. I can't believe it. Shade is like probably my most used companion in my like main character. And as I was looking through stuff to see like what I had mastered and what I hadn't, because I'm trying to also get that character up to mastery rank 30, you know, the regular shade I'd never used before. I must have, the original one I must have gotten must have been Prisma's shade, I'll bet. Hey, King of Fire, Caduceus, how are you? Or Cadus, sorry. Cadus 9001. Good to see you. Me old eyes could use the font just a little bit larger. Yes, that is wonderful. I don't have black. I've gray. It's like gray. That's all. Unfortunately, I you know, when we were essentially, I only have two. Well, I only technically have one color palette, and that's the one that we got here for 1 credit. But I only have like the middle section, so like I can always give it like a gray overtone with like the green insides if you'd like, or you know, like kind of a Christmassy theme. Kind of past that by now. You know, a couple ways with it actually, but for the time being. Yeah, when I get a few colors too favored, I'm going to. I'm not terribly opposed to this all green at the moment. We'll see how things go. But we're probably gonna do, let's get into it.
I have just detected signatures matching the new drone. Gather scans of it to determine its origin and capabilities.
Okay. I'm gonna go scan some drones. So, yeah, this is going to be very interesting because I haven't had this opportunity to see like the true new game for years and years. I will say for my new video, I replayed Whispers in the Walls again, right? Because I need it. And I don't know what's going on here, but like,
gather scans, but approach with caution, Tenno.
I don't know how else to explain this, but for whatever reason, and I can show visual proof of it, I don't change any settings, right? But the man in the wall's eyes, they change a lot. Like they go from like a kind of like a galaxy looking with an orangish kind of hue to the dark, like the black, to like almost a pinkish hue. And then there's like a blue, not a blue, I shouldn't say, but it's more of like a grayish hue. And then in this newest playthrough that I did, I mean, both the characters at the end of Whispers in the Walls, like Albert and the operator, their eyes were jet black this time. And like, I don't know what to think about that because it's significant within the lore and it means something. I think it's maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't mean anything different, but
it is just old war wreckage. Why are the Corpus suddenly interested in it? Tenno, another scannable signature just appeared near you. We may be able to determine what the Corpus are up to.
Oh yeah, that's some dual scan action there. Woo! Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I can show you tons of proof of the different variations, and it's always been like I said. It's always had this kind of like galaxy, like like black with like a starry kind of background to it. And I kind of got behind that because it's actually the background that you see the first time that the Tenno meets the man in the wall in some way. Like it's also like the background that you can see. Although we'll be able to get to see it again here firsthand. Hey Diego, hello. Miss anybody here today? Thank you all again for joining me on the weekly Warframe little chat that we have. I feel almost bad because these last couple of weeks, like, I know that the audio part was probably a lot of fun. Well, I didn't know. It was probably fun, but like visually, the stream was kind of, for lack of a better term, it was pretty ass because it was just me standing there. So I figured today we'll actually get some real things going on. Now, if I get a little sidetracked, especially on a story, it's if this story starts kicking in and I want to make note of something, feel free to get me back on track. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Let's lower the game volume. So do me a favor, Haster. Let me know if that change was good enough or if I need to go a little bit more. Archiplumbus, how are you? Jack of all trades, hello? I'm invisible. Don't you have to worry about a thing, Lotus. Beep, 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 boom. Here, I'm gonna snort. That's what I'm talking about right there. The same thing I saw last time, hon. Mommy?
I am sensing some signal masking. It will take some time to decipher. Concentrate on your mission for now.
Got it.
This thing is not a Corvus design. If I can get another scan, I can determine its origin. Tenno, I need you to scan another drone.
I will. I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna use as much as I can this time. Hey, Beth. Good to see you. Oh, man. Many times there's an Iatan in there. It was worth it to look. What do we have here? The most forgettable frame. Oh. It all depends on what the criteria. Like, just someone that I just don't care to ever use, or somebody that like we're not talking like lore wise, right? Okay. But I would have to say, like, for me, it's it's Shirelli. I just, it's the one frame
But if you found a drone
I've seen
before it notices you,
tons of gameplay.
good.
I know exactly what her abilities are and what she can do, and
Stay safe.
it's the one frame that I have just not had any interest in grinding for. And it's actually, as I understand it now, it is the only frame I do not have. I just don't care. I don't even know how you get it. Or get her, to be honest. Like, I really don't. And I think a lot of it has to do with just the not Wave Rider, well, the quest experience in itself. It was, to me, it was such a chore. It put such a bad taste in my mouth. You want to know how? I can't show you on this character, but to give you an idea of how much I disliked that quest, I would akin that quest for me to like a Dark Souls boss. Like, I'm being straight up serious. The amount of times I had to redo or try to do those stupid tricks over and over and hitting the thing and everything else. I named my K drive I Hate You. Like, that is the actual name of my K drive, and I never bring it out. That quest put such a bad taste in my mouth. In regards to
Operator, Ordis knows what it is like to be abandoned. Don't worry, someone has offered to help us.
it's time.
Pupil, the spring has ended. The lotus blossom has snapped shut, her true nature revealed. Now we shall see if codependence can be broken. Let us begin to unravel her long-hidden truth.
Okay, so what's interesting is Teshin's apparently known this the whole time, but never decided to say anything. because he knows what's going on. I thought that was a little interesting thing that I never really picked up on. That's what I love about doing these quests over, is there's always these little tiny things that I'll pick up on that I didn't think about last time. But yeah, like as far as the Wave Rider quest, like I said, there's no better way for me to describe it to you than I would. I was trying to explain to somebody last night in the member stream the what I would call the joy of playing Dark Souls games or Elden Ring or anything else like that, right? And I akin it to like playing Super Mario Brothers, where it's like learning the move set of a boss is the same thing as learning, the level of a particular thing to make sure you can get through it without screwing up. You go through it a bunch of times, you finally figure out what you got to do. Same thing. But like Wave Rider was just the shitty parts of the Dark Souls games. There was no fun part to it for me. And that was always my issue with it. Was like I never got, when I got done with it, like when I actually finished the quest, right? It was more relief to be done with it than there was in any way, shape, or form like that same kind of like happiness that I would get from. Holy shit. Just jump right up on that dude's face. There was like no like when I beat a Dark Souls boss, oh man, I feel good, or Elden Ring or something like that. Especially if it's one I've struggled on. I might even get a little animated and do a little taunt or something like that, depending on how badly they've been kicking the shit out of me, right? But there was no love, there was no joy. It was all just relief and like the idea in my mind that above everything else, like I never wanted to experience that again, which really sucks because I'll probably have to do it now that I'm doing the second character, which means I'm going to have to do that on stream, which is going to be even worse because now understand, I have yet to learn how to use the K drive because I hate it so much. So anything that I did learn from getting through the quest the first time is gone. So it's going to be like all that same thing, plus the added, like,
This console will serve my purpose.
let's say the added pressure of being, of doing it in a live setting. And then like having people be able to like flame me and stuff. And yeah, it's going to be great. But that's probably a stream that you want to show up for. Because if you want to, because I like to think I'm, for the most part, have a pretty calm demeanor. That stream, it won't be the case.
Exercise your training. Defend the console.
Hello, Royo Boyo. Hey, as long as you guys are willing to tough it out with me, I'll do it. I'll do the quest. I don't want to do the quest, but I'll do the quest. I mean, who knows? Maybe even on this character. This character might be the character that has Urelli, whereas my main character has like gone on a Warframe strike against it. You know what? I could have sworn I went to the same type of things and it didn't do anything for me because I just have never grasped how to use the K drive. I even have This is how bad it is. Like, I even have issues
What I seek.
in the little section in the new war where you have to use the K drive. Like, I gotta concentrate to get through that part without like looking completely stupid on if I'm recording a video or if I'm like playing it live. I really have to concentrate in those parts. So if during those parts you notice that I get really quiet, that's the reason why. Oh, were they? Man, I sure hope so. 'Cause, oh, dude, it was the worst. It was. Like I said it wounded me. It scarred me from wanting to do anything regarding
Access the console.
K drive.
This
Period.
console. Go.
It's like my kryptonite in Warframe. I hope they never put something like super awesome behind like having to play to just do tricks on the K drive, because if that's the case, like that's a thing I can't have. Get out of there. All right, what? Since when can you not?
My task is complete, but the puzzle calls for one last piece.
It always calls for 3.
Console.
3's a pretty consistent number in this particular universe, I would say.
This is it. The answers we seek lie within.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, it.
To sharpen
Woo! That was the quest.
predict you will need them.
I'm even having like a little bit of PTSD like right now thinking about it. It hurt me deep in my soul. It's like it's there. If I ever needed like actual like therapy where I was sitting on a chair, that would probably be a part of what I'm screwed up with. Like all this stuff with like my upbringing, or not upbringing but like childhood, different things, and then and I've had to play the Wave Rider quest. It'd be even funnier if like my hypothetical psychiatrist was like, oh yeah, we all have that.
I have found that which wanted to be hidden. Advance to extraction.
Pardon me. What? Okay. I guess no, don't go that way. This way is the way. And there you go. PG, hello.
Mission complete. Excellent work, Tenno.
Ollie Chin, hello. Vanch, good to see you. Hope I didn't miss anybody. If I did, welcome. Thank you for joining me today as we head our way through Natah and indefinitely the second dream. We've got to find the sergeant.
This Grenier is smarter than the others, more volatile. We need to be cautious. Find his sergeant, pupil. He will lead us to this tomb.
You want to know why they're here? Because I found it. The tomb. They should all be dead, trapped inside, but these ones are not. Why? Be brave, Skur. For your brother is sick and twisted in the tubes. New ideas are within our reach that could cure us all. Send the Draga to reinforce the location we discussed. Skur, if you saw too many words, I'm sorry. I forgot who I was writing to. So assuming you just read the big letters, send Draga, kill Tenno, help brothers. How did you get that? Hawks, hello? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, rather than a story for Teshin, given his involvement in certain situations, I would say that there's a very good chance that you're going to see an association with him in a future quest without question. Because it is interesting. He is part of a very, very, let's say, unique group. Teshin, the Drifter, and presumably Albrecht and Trotty. From what we know at least, are the only three people that have been in the void and have aged. Which I always thought was interesting. Even more so, like I always wonder what exactly what is the thing that's at the relay that's representing Teshin supposed to be? Like, is it just like a kiosk with like a memory of him? Like, I get it; it's a placeholder, you know, for the thing, but like, rarely does Warframe do anything that doesn't have some kind of lore explanation that comes along with it. That's true too, well, that's kind of like one of the interesting things about that is that, well, it might be more. That's the thing. I don't know that. I don't know what that's supposed to be. I'd like to know for certain if anybody in the chat does know like a definitive thing, like where you've heard something, um, like even in a dev stream or something that I might have missed, or you know something that I don't like. I'd love to know what that's supposed to be because that's something I do not know. And I would it potentially might say a lot. Might say nothing, but it might say a lot. Maybe. I don't know. Let me see. Who all would want to join? Oh, it's a solo quest. Well, you're all going to have to help me whenever we go in and kill. I mean, you don't have to help me, but it would be fun if you helped when I go in and kill Tal Regor because I saved just that node. I got stick drift. New controllers on the way. All I have to do is obviously complete Natah, which we're going to do right now, and then defeat Tal Regor. And we're right here. So then I can get right to the second dream today, too. Pastor, you're going to love, basically from what you just questioned, asked the question, you're going to really enjoy. You know what? Now that you're all here, maybe I can ask you a question, too. This is important. So, the script is, I would say, 99% done for this video, and luckily for this video, it shouldn't require a ton of editing.
Capture the sergeant. He will know where this tomb is.
However,
Teshin, you don't have the authority. You
oh,
are
there she
endangering
is.
the Tenno.
So, the petals have opened once more. But why now? Afraid of what we'll find?
I had to cover my tracks.
Sorry, I'll tell you.
I
Get
see
back to it in a
Teshin
second.
has been leading you into an even greater danger.
The beast soon stirs, Lotus, revealing much. It will awaken and become whole again.
The sentient.
You know this one, don't you?
So, interesting. She does not want him found. Oh, now, so what I was going to say is that based upon some information that I've uncovered here in my research for the video and through discussions in the membership stream last night, I've uncovered some more information and kind of been inspired by some other stuff that I can take this video and I can increase its scope because it's still basically within the same realm of things. It would make the video a lot longer, but it would also require a little bit more time because I would have to incorporate all this new information into the video and make it make sense within the stuff that I already have. So I can do the video that I already have planned and just put that out and then do this as like even a part 2 or it's not necessarily even a part 2. It just has similar concepts involved. That's all. Like I said, it's not necessarily two of the same thing. But what would you rather one much longer video encompassing like a couple different concepts and interesting ideas, or the scale that I have it at right now, which would be like probably anywhere from a 30 to 50-minute video with one and then another 30 to 50-minute video, shortly after. Let me know in the comments. This will actually determine what I do, just so you know. Wait, what did I do? Did I miss him? No, he's got to be down here. Okay, good. Excuse me.
He knows where the tomb is. Apprehend him.
I mean, personally, I would rather do the shorter video, only because I pretty much have it done. But I also know there's a lot of you out there that, hey, buddy. I don't know if I can kill him. Oh, yeah. Just gotta get a couple slash procs going and we're in good shape. Boop, boop, boop. Get out of here, honey. Thank you. Probably doing the 2 videos just because it's more content, Like instead of like I would have another video out Monday or Tuesday at the very latest, and then we're going to be streaming on Wednesday because the new TechRot Encore comes out, so we want to do that. And then I would then at that point I would have my choice on doing that secondary video at that point, or if there was something that if there was something that like happened in the tech rot that I wanted to talk about right away, say. Sorry, I'm just getting some mastery rank here. You know how it works. Like I said, it's looking like more people would like the double videos, which again that would probably be my preference as well. But I figure, I rarely do I give the channel like the opportunity to kind of chime in. Not because I don't want to, more so because like if I get a topic in my head that I want to speak about, like it's a lot easier to kind of like dig deep into that than trying to figure out like, okay, what does everybody want? And then is it only like, especially if I put a couple different topics out and it's split, like I did that the one time before and it was like it was almost like it's like 4 topics each got the same amount of votes. So it was almost not even worth putting out because it was like people would have taken any one.
Regor must be stopped from entering the tomb. I have to risk exposure to stop him. Go.
Mm-hmm. Did we get any XP here? Not really. Let's give me a couple cool. I have some really interesting things that I want to present. Definitely some new developments. When you go back and play through, hey Steve, how are you? Sorry, I didn't see you there. When you go back and play through the older quest with new context, like okay, there's a couple times where I can tell you. I have to even question, like, if...
Get to the waypoint. I will give you further instructions when you get there.
How far back was DE, like, cooking this story up? Because I'm not saying that everything always works out, but there's a lot of things that, like, tie back to older quests that make you question newer stuff. I mean, and again, there's that visual aspect too. I wish I could. I know they would never tell me, right? But I wish I could get somebody to like tell me, like truthfully, what the point behind the updating of certain visuals within the quests are. Not necessarily that it's an update on like graphics or anything, but like a complete visual change. I mean, I can give you a bunch of different examples of this too, and it always seems to happen within like with like.
Tails cut off life support. Hold on, Tenno.
Yes, he did.
Extraction, but this will take time.
Sentient. The destroyer. The liberator. Depends on who.
But I mean, that's even another thing. Like, there's aspects that like when we start to talk about this would be a concept for video 2. So we might see this one come out soon. There may be some just tiny little brief references in the one I'm going to be putting out here this week. But the second video will focus more on it, and if you want to get yourself kind of read up on it beforehand to really hear it, to feel it pop, take a look into something called Kozarev mirrors. Well, the other good thing is I don't make my videos are rarely like what I would call short. You know, they're not exceptionally long, but like I used to make more like 10-minute videos and stuff like that. Now I usually the shortest video I'll make at this point is about a half an hour, and then they're usually more on the lines of getting closer to an hour, or at least in the 45-minute range. That's usually where they'll end up being. So I was almost thinking of it if I can get weekly stuff out or close to weekly, It's almost like an episode.
Not laughing? Well, I don't know. I find it.
Yeah, I will be streaming Wednesday for the new content.
It's not a tomb, Rhaegar. It's a cage.
So if you want to check that out, as soon as it becomes available, I will essentially get it going.
Tenno lives! Still drunk on your own honor? Shocked it hasn't rotted you through yet.
So
Life support on the way.
one of the things I never picked up on, or I may have incorrectly said
Life support has been replenished.
or thought at least when I was first going through this, was that the pseudo Tenno had some kind of like more,
Capsule is now available.
substantial aspect to it. But it's just because he was a teacher, specifically of the Tenno,
Who cares? They smashed the Oro kit, freed us. How'd they do that? I want to know.
Well, I mean, Warframe allows those. Oh, there it is. Wait a second. There he is. The big man's coming up. Up on how. Well, like I said, it's more so, if you can make the stream, that's awesome. If you're playing, it's probably even better because then you're really getting into it. But I know there's going to be people that are, working and stuff like that. So if they can sit there and tune in when it hits and, kind of get an idea of what to do beforehand. So when they do get home from work, they can just jump right in and,
Get ready for a capsule.
they don't even necessarily need to worry about like looking up any guides or anything. Hopefully, by the time the stream's over, I'll at least have a good idea of what's going on. And
Life support activated. Additional life support has arrived.
you know what's crazy is I have a literal whiteboard full of unrecorded, sometimes unscripted. I have a lot of scripts that I've never used too.
Hundreds of
A
hours.
lot of scripts. I have actually a bunch of unreleased videos where like something I said within it like just didn't feel like right, or I didn't have enough information to like truly like make that claim. Like I didn't feel like I had, or something I found something while I was researching or even finishing an aspect of it that as I was hearing myself say it, I'm like, wait a second, what about this, or this part doesn't make sense. All right, Lotus, man.
Life support has been replenished.
Yeah, that's true, Steve. I'll bet you there's a ton of but there's been a lot of things they've held true too. And if they are able to incorporate more of the dark sector thing, that's even more impressive if you think about it.
They escaped?
Like, because it's actually it's a it's very interesting in its own right. Okay, that goes without saying. Like, it's good lore, but it's also a really unique repurposing of obsolescent content. I mean, because that's really what happened here. Let's be real. They were able to take an old trailer that basically was worthless. I mean, it really doesn't even fit in with the concept of Dark Sector as it was presented.
Get ready for a capsule.
Well, essentially, like, I wonder. It's like I imagine. I don't know if anybody else has actually experienced it this way, but I have the Devil in the Details set up as a playlist. Now some of that's older content, so some things are going to be. I don't know. Is some of it off?
Additional life support has arrived.
I'll tell you what's really crazy. I was looking back at the Duviri video, and I called that the Tenno was going to be a variation of. I actually watched that video just recently. I was like, wow, wasn't a bad prediction there. So I think I really do. I think like a lot of the stuff in that, even in that older Devil in the Details stuff, I think there's actually some stuff in there that doesn't look at the moment like it's going to be real, but I think we're going to find out that it was real. Like that it is the truth. Yet.
Life support activated.
Yeah, kind of like, yeah, a little bit like deleted siege scenes, like, if you will.
Life support incoming.
I still think we're going to figure out, we're going to find Hayden Tenno in Warframe at some point. Because, you know, the one thing, and I don't know if, I mean, again, this would actually be technically outside of the story of Dark Sector, but we still have yet to find what we would consider to be a patient zero. You know, like, even though the Indifference calls Arthur as we're like going through the very beginning of the Hex quest, although he might be calling the Tenno that too, actually. That's when I think about it. But like, we still haven't figured out the first Warframe, like the first, not the first Excalibur or the first. Do you know what I'm saying? The very first Warframe. It would have to be specific ones. I have to think. I mean, there's obviously new context that I would clearly want to add, but
Prepare for life support.
there. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of stuff in there that.
Now. Get out.
Oh, okay, I'm going, man. There's a lot of stuff that still holds up amazingly. There's probably some stuff in it that doesn't too. If there isn't stuff that doesn't hold up, right? Or like that, if everything that I predicted came true, then I have to be working for DE.
Another life
And I can
support
tell
capsule
you
is now available.
that I am not. So that's impossible. Hey, Highlander, how are you? Little call, how are you?
Another job well executed.
Well, so like, technically, Hawks, Menzer is in Warframe. All you need to do is go to the subway, or actually a bunch of different places
Mine.
in Halvania.
My old name. It is not who I am now. We need to focus on now, not history. We need to seal the tomb. A blast capable.
The sentient is awake, Natah. It will not be contained for long.
Do not call me that. Containment will buy us time. Go now, Tenno. I will explain more when you reach the site.
See, this is where I believe Ballas's influence comes into play. We're talking about the Lotus. Because I think when we really kind of find out about the Lotus more, and how she came about. We know that Ballas has a clear aspect to him that was a controlling factor, and Ballas clearly was the mastermind behind everything. At least it appears that way. So he also made a plan. It was the one part of the plan that he didn't share with Hun Hao, that he was going to intercept. And again, I always question this. Like, I wonder if a part of the conspiracy between with Ballas and Hun Hao working together, a part of their plan had something to do with Natah being created specifically like she was, to be a mimic, that she could change forms. Because it would give Ballas the exact thing that he wanted. I just don't think that he let that portion of the plan out to Hun Hao. He probably, and again, this is me speculating because we don't have any information on this portion of it, but I would think it's very likely that as they were discussing the plan, and the reason why Hun Hao is so shocked that of everything that transpires during Natah itself is the fact that this plan that he and Ballas had conjured up together in order to overthrow the Orokin ended up with him being sealed in a tomb somewhere. So, yeah, getting back to the whole sorry, Theo Metaslug. Hello. Getting back to the whole dark sector thing. Again, what I'm saying is his picture, Menzer's picture, is literally in Halvania. So you can then take from that what you will. Is it a video game? Is it a movie? Is it an aspect of reality that was changed? Because it's not like we haven't seen that. Dare I say, reality can change quite frequently in Halvania, you know? Right? And seems to every year, one way or another. So, with that in mind, like I said, I really think that, I mean, heck, you may even come to find, we may even come to find that Menser, because there's a lot of similarities. Menser and Entrati may share some kind of relationship in some way. Who knows? But let's go seal the tomb. You guys, you did see Menser's poster, right? In Albania, right? And really, like, Menzer and oh yeah, it's in there. Go into the subway.
A
That's the
focus
best place to
blast
see
will
it.
release the magma flows beneath and rebury the tomb. Protect the bomb during its lengthy arming process.
Yeah. It's kind of scary, if you ask me. Yeah, yeah, Hester. That's kind of like my whole point is like what we were kind of getting back to before, where in a lot of ways there you can see there's all these parallels that. Oh, okay. You know what? My brain's off on that one. Sometimes you just gotta use a cipher and not even think about it. Glub glub. It's just interesting how many things would work together, and especially in that regard, because we know that, you know, Entrati has at least some level of expertise with Warframe technology. He's created enough of them at this point. Which is kind of like Entrati too, if you think about it now. Yes, they have a very different. I wouldn't necessarily say very different methodology. One is more refined. Again, I'm not necessarily saying they're the same person. I don't think that's the case. But if you if we came to realize that in some way Entrati came back to speak to this person or got information from them in some way, would it really surprise you? I still have to finish playthrough of that too. It's just man, it's so hard to play that game because it's so old. It feels bad when I'm sorry. Get out of there, buddy. Yeah, I wouldn't be a good like streamer who just was able to play like every game. Certain games, man, if I play them, it's like this isn't feeling good. My brain's not getting the right amount of endorphins here from this. Dare I say I'm losing endorphins. This is not what I want. So Mesner's the protagonist or the antagonist in, or one of them at least, in Dark Sector. I wouldn't say he's the one. He's just a one. I mean, like I said, I feel like at some point, although we got kind of a little bit of information, that's another story that is like sitting on the table yet that I'm sure tons of Warframe players would really, really enjoy learning. Is like, what about the first Warframe? How did that go? Like, not because, I mean, really, if you think about it, a lot of it, especially if it, I'm trying to think, isn't it an Excalibur Warframe that
Why did you betray me?
that Ballas is showing?
Once you started, why did you stop at the last? What is it talking about, Lotus?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, is he on the wall in the back rooms too, or is he not one of the ones on that side? I so very much want my Tenno. This one's gonna be like the sister Tenno of my main character. Because mainly, can I tell you why? I want to see a female man in the wall. Like, because that picture that's on, like, was on the wiki for the longest time regarding the man in the wall. It's so creepy that I need to see that.
Let them destroy me. Why is the sequence not complete?
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Intriguing, Lotus. Do you two have a
There you go. There you go. So, if that be the case, like I said, we have all of these different Excalibur stories, right? But none of them are about Excalibur. We have a story about the Stalker. We have a story about Excalibur Prime, or I mean Excalibur Umbra. We even see Excalibur Prime in a thing. So, but that's one of the things too. The whole Radiation Wars, I do believe, is new dialogue in the Once Awake quest.
My own daughter, the last of my womb. How can you do this?
Lotus.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know if there's any. Yeah, that's what that frame is. It's Nidus. That's who that is. And I think that's where the implied comes from. So during, unless Haster, unless there's something else, but when you're looking at when Ballas is talking about the Warframes, and you see like that person that's turning into it, that is Nidus. Like it's like a gold and black diagram looking thing. It's not necessarily like any kind of like in-game thing. And then also, even within the, I think within the kinematic messages, right? Even the Drifter talks about Nidus being something like different. So apparently, Nidus didn't go so well. Which seems fine with us, though. Just needed to have the right master.
You betrayed us. As I awake, so will they. They will say you are Riven and want to reclaim you.
Well, yeah.
I will not be
She's
able to
Riven.
stop them.
She is Riven.
Finish the sequence, and I will forgive you. Fail at this, and you will be reclaimed by your own father.
The bomb is armed. I'm pulling you out.
Oh, no. I just forgot. Like, I gotta figure out. I gotta get myself a Warframe for spy missions real quick.
Natah, Lotus, you cannot hide this past any longer.
There are gaps. I had my mission, and I have completed it. All but the last sequence.
To destroy the Tenno.
The war was over, so I hid them away. In the second dream, I could not destroy them.
And yet, you were born to. So tell me, what made you stop to reject your nature?
All missions to the Origin system required a sacrifice. Me and my kind become barren when crossing the gap. It is the one flaw we never overcame.
Natah wanted children of her own.
Natah was the daughter, until I destroyed her. Now, I am the Lotus. Now I am the mother.
And that insinuates a lot. That she said she destroyed her. So weird. No, not yet.
Tenno, you seal my tomb. You kill my two men. Not acceptable behavior. Our differences need to be settled. So, you know where I am. Come, get me. Just try.
Tenno, you know where Till is. When you are ready, destroy him.
I'm coming for you, Tao. So, the reason why I want to, one of them things called Helminth, whatever, charger. And as you can see here, I don't quite have the little hair. Yeah, Tal Rhaegar is easily one of the best voiced characters in Warframe. I wish he needs to, if we could somehow get him back in there somehow, somehow. But yeah, without I need, like, I think another day of growth, and we can make ourselves a mastery rank item that I'll probably never use because I never use my other one. So what new bits am I hoping to pick up? Royal Boy, that's the beauty part. You never know what you're going to pick up. But every time I play, I pick up something different. So
You don't need to thank me.
like I said, in this one, it's interesting to me. I'm trying to understand what the moment of the Lotus's creation was like. So we know that Ballas was the person who was kind of behind it. And from how she speaks like that, and especially how there's like a if I'm not mistaken, yeah, there's from a TennoCon, I think 2021, where you can see her with Ballas. It's like a little, almost like a diorama that they'd make, right? Where the stalker was like off in the corner, like you couldn't almost see him until the very end. But she was bound in what you would consider to be her Natah form. And so, as I understand it, the helmet seems to be the thing that is the controlling factor, if you will, or was, with all the little tubes and stuff, in it. And it seems to me now, especially hearing that I never really thought about the struggle that it happened. Oh, look at that. Son of a bitch. Don't tell me about the Wave Rider. That may have gone on leading up to the creation, let's say, of the Lotus. And it is interesting because given that we know that So as I was saying before, like there's the idea that she was made a mimic, something that could change forms. You know what? I'm not going to use all of my endo. That's okay. But there's like this there's this thought I can't get past because like they keep bringing it up in game, and it is largely to do with the Lotus herself in that they keep saying, like Eleanor brings it up, the Lotus says it out on the ledge and at the sanctum, that there's three people in there. Now I can understand the Lotus being a product of the combined concepts of Natah's vision and Margulis's vision, making a new person. But doesn't that whole thing, it's still Margulis's consciousness had to have been injected somehow into the Lotus, right? It had to have been put in, right? I feel like that's the only thing that could possibly make sense, and it goes back to something that I thought before, that I wonder if, because Ballas was such a prodigious user of continuity in his own right, and also with his knowledge of how to transfer a consciousness, right? See, I'm not so sure about. I understand that she collected data from the Ten of Dreams, but the Tenno would only have very how much would they really know about her in the short time they would even interact with her? I mean, it wasn't like they got hundreds of years to be with her. Most of the transference work that happened, that actually went into Warframes, happened after she was dead, because they used her data to create the Warframes. To create not the Warframes, but the transference link. And if the Tenno were asleep, then what dreams, unless they were being fed, like that's what I'm saying. Like I think that she is something that Ballas produced,
And we're out.
and is the reason why. Let's see. She would have had thousands of years to get to know Margulis, but she wouldn't, because Margulis, it would just be a vision of the Tenno, and it would only be a very, like I said, it's most of the work that think about it this way. Most of the work that was done with Margulis and the Tenno wasn't even done in person, because the Tenno couldn't be trusted to be outside of their cryopods without destroying, without hearing voices. Wait, what did your last message say, Lord Sincross? I didn't see it. I didn't delete it. Yeah, and that's another thing too. Like, well, see, like this kind of gets back to my point that if you go deeper into it, you come to realize that, especially after the New War gives the total context. that he created her to be a copy of Margulis. And he says that in so many words, but realizes at some point that she's not. And he does differentiate between the two people in multiple scenarios, especially the first time that they come together again. You know, whenever she says, I'm not who you think I am. He says, sure you are. You're in prison just as she was, meaning that there's two different people. I wonder why you're getting auto modded. See, to me, the fact that she did what Ballas wanted and not what Hunhao wanted would say more to the fact that his plan went through and that Hunhao's didn't. Mm-hmm. She did. But why would she have known Margulis? Margulis would have been dead most likely hundreds of years, at least decades before Natah would have ever shown up. And personally, I think, Lord Syncross, that the era cinematic proves more so that she came in that night. And the reason why I say that is because what we see in that part with her and the Tenos, the other, which again, 7 of them, interesting. No, I mean we don't. There is nothing saying that she was not alive at the same time. But of course, there's at the same time there's nothing really saying that they were. And again, this would have been in the early stages of the old war. So this would also have been actually, you know what? This would have been before. Yeah, yeah. The plan with Ballas and Hunhao only came about after Margulis was killed. So most likely, I mean, again, based on the information we have, Margulis died. At that point, that is when Ballas decided to defect. Now we don't know how much time, but we can assume. No, we do have some time actually, because Ballas says we know that the reason why Ballas defected was the death of Margulis, and we also know that Ballas, he says to Umbra, he said, I've had eons to plan my defection. Meaning that, and he specifically says, because you've now, the reason why is because you've never had to see the one you love die. So there are literally, between those times, yeah, so that would have been a long time beforehand. So Margulis died, then the plan came into play. So Natah wouldn't have been created based upon the Ropalolas fight and the plan itself wouldn't have been created until after Margulis was killed. You know what, Lord Sin? He doesn't say eons. He says lifetimes. That's my mistake. He said I've had lifetimes to plan my defection. Pterodactyl, hello. JBN, hello. Let's see who else did I miss. Anybody? Darnock, hello. Good to see everybody. Touch me, hello. um, I don't know that I'm gonna gasp whenever we.
Would you look at you?
Oh yes, here it is. It's time. When I get my operator, only because I've like already planned it out and everything else. Well, see, I don't think Umbra is like the first Excalibur. He's just another Warframe. He wasn't even supposed to be made a Warframe, if you think about it. He was one of Ballas's punishment projects. He's got a couple of them. Our own Cephalon Ortis was another one. Okay, Hawks, you're gonna like this. I got a good answer for you. Oh yeah, good calls. Anybody else want to join in to kill Till Regor? So you're gonna like this. Actually, there is some information in the lore that. Ready? Kind of basically says the rest of the Oricans, the high Orican, the executors and people of that nature, didn't really like. If you want to join in, now's the time. If you want to see that's this character's name. So, in the Detron, crewman Detron, Samaris, what's that thing called again? Implant or whatever. When they present the sentience, the original sentient, like the first, the prime sentient, he plays like he wants it destroyed. Okay? Hey, PKMZ, how are you? So, Hawks, you're thinking you're not thinking about it as an Orican would think about it, though. See, reputation within the Orican is everything. Like that's what that type of society. You know what I'm saying? Like they're within a society of the highest elites, they still must form their own hierarchy, right? But it's an implied hierarchy. So the more that people agree with you and essentially like take your part, the more power you have amongst let's say unelected positions or even unassigned actual organizational hierarchy. So, anybody else want to join before we do this? So, I honestly 100% believe that information in there, because the way that they describe Ballast too is essentially like when the one guy kind of says that you're for lack of a better term, like you're just a big hypocrite. Like you just live in these, high walls, but that's essentially how they did it. And everybody in the area joined in the laughter, right? I actually believe, check this out. I actually believe that hate and that not hate, but like looking down upon, or however jealousy. It could be jealousy because of how brilliant he was and what he could do. But I think that had something to do with Margulis being killed versus being just like done in any other different way, because it's not, there's multiple different punishments that we see. She could have been made into a cephalon. There's a bunch of different things that could have happened. And really, for what? Like, all she did was say that she didn't want to go along with the idea of using the children as weapons, essentially, right? Did she really need to die for that? Like, you could have just removed her from, like, she could have had nothing to do with transference from this point on. Just, okay, you're fired and you're out of here. Why did you have to kill her? But I honestly think it was another shot at Ballas. Because that's another thing, too. Think of it this way. That exact same, Diego, if you want to join us, I think, yes. You got to join in on us. That exact same thing, right? That exact same Detron crewman piece of lore shows their hypocrisy, because in that particular thing, right? Ballas says, "Oh, our laws are the laws. We must. You have to, for what you've done. You have to be punished, right?" And the other executors are like, "Wait a second here. It might not be such a great idea to do this, there, Ballas. Hold up a second." So here in this instance, Orkin law can be, it can be kind of skirted. I guess it's not that big of a deal over on this side. But then whenever Margulis basically says, "No, I don't think it's a good idea for the kids to be made weapons of war." Oh, dude, kill her. Kill her. But again, like, it's interesting because they take on essentially the things that they believe to be heretical. In fact, that's even a big thing with what Ballas talks about, is before the vain faith, which is the faith in the void. Everything was about mind and body, two things, dualism. But that changed because after the vain faith, everything changed. You can see it from how the void was used all over the place, and it is. Hopefully, I'll try to get into another one here. The good thing is, if you got me for future streams, I'll definitely get you in. Unfortunately, I got one mission before we start the second dream. So if I can get people in for the other ones, I definitely will. If not, I promise you, I will get you in for other things this week, especially. We're going to be doing extra streams. Wednesday, we're going to be doing the new content as it comes out. So if you want to join me, then you can. And let's see. Friday, I'll probably be just doing the Monster Hunter again, but then Saturday will be another member stream, and then Sunday we'll be doing new content again and doing this stuff. So we'll get you in, I promise. So, that's kind of the point that I was trying to make, that I think Well, ballast makes everything go. I mean, that's the reality of it. If it weren't for, I mean, the Orkin made a dumb, 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 dumb mistake. They should not have killed her.
Very excited
Because
now.
you can kind of tell basically from that leading up to it, right? Based upon that. Because DE wouldn't have thrown that in there if that wasn't something worth highlighting. But so, given that, he probably wasn't completely happy to begin with. And then they decided to kill his girl. And if you want to know how he feels about that, you can listen to him talk to Umbra about it. And that is where you'll start to see a little bit of Ballas's mask like slip a little bit, because every time you see Ballas speak, he is always jovial. He always seems like he's got a smile on his face. He always seems like he is in complete control of the situation, and he's always in like a very calm demeanor, you know? Except in some certain instances. And one of those things is when he speaks to Umbra about what they did to her. It's one of the few times that he breaks emotion. And you know from that. I mean, that was it. When they did that, that's it. The Orkin, they were on a timeline. I mean, and think about it. He was probably one of their most gifted, I don't even know what you want to call him, biologist, scientist. You know, there's probably aspects of the arcane that he understood. He understood the void and void technology clearly, because there had to be a joining of the Warframes and the Tenno, who are basically void creatures for the most part. Yep. And they did. And they took their shot, and it cost them everything. It's kind of one of the reasons why I think Ballas is the best character that Warframe, that DE has ever written.
His work would not only reverse centuries of deterioration due to excessive cloning, but also allow for stronger and deadlier genetic molds. Eliminate Regor and put a stop to his work.
Ballas, love him or hate him, is one of the most complex and unique characters in all of gaming, and doesn't get nearly the okay, this way. And like I said, just because we don't know what Ballas was like before. I mean, we know what he did, but also that's another thing too. You have to also consider that, given what we get out of that whole quest, and especially with the like how, even though he was made fun of and everything, he understood that, like, if he doesn't do what he's told, right, then he's going to lose. He's going to lose his spot. And again, you know, you can make the argument that, well, you know, you can't be an asshole, but he essentially had, if you look at it from the case of he had to be what he was, I think it changes a little bit of the idea of what Ballas. Let's put it this way. I could easily see how Ballas started out at one point as just a scientist for the Orkin. And as more things, because I mean, the Orkin are just as bad as him. That's just how it is. and I could just see them with the more stuff that happened and the goofier things that occurred. I'm not saying he could have probably turned back at any point, but let's be real. If Ballas would have turned back, what would have happened? He would have been killed just like Margulis. I mean, that's it. So I mean, you could probably say, I just want to get one shot in just to act like I did something. Oh, damn, he's fast. But, I mean, you could say maybe that he is guilty of being a coward. Yeah. And I would say people... how do I say this? I'd say people that are able to survive in a scenario like that, who are ultra intelligent, would understand the value of being a coward. What's down there? At times, as it in his mind, is clearly proved that he where is he? I got a shot in. I got one. Ha 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 ha! I got one. Wait, what was down there? Oh, I guess I'm never gonna see it now.
They won't be bothering us anymore.
I see
Let's get
that.
out of here. Stay focused.
Easiest tile regular kill ever.
Get comfy, dreamers. One of our own believes they
Yeah, I know that he was an executor too. I'm just saying that at one point, I'm saying being
Let's get out of here.
a scientist, especially who goes along with the crew, let's say, would tend to move up in the ranks a lot quicker. Have you ever seen the movie Liar Liar? Again, a lot of it has to do with, and we do know that one thing that Ballas absolutely has is ambition. He's deep and rich with ambition. Well, I mean, again, I need my little breaks here from time to time that I can get back to the. By the way, hey Frank, good to see you, buddy. Sorry, let's see, who did I miss? Ash Curon and Ember, this guy. Thank you for being here today. Who else did I miss? I feel bad. Hey, how are you? Yeah, I mean, I'm not doing any. Honestly, everybody else is doing the combat. Really. I have to do the node now to get the second dream, so I'm going to have to leave the squad here. If I can get you all back for the second dream at any point, I will. And no Equinox thing. Did it? Yeah, I don't think. I didn't even look. Boop. Here we go. Ooh, hey, that's a really good question up there. Do you think Ballas's role in Orden Care's punishment was part of his plan or just part of his routine duties? I'll tell you what. I think you could make the argument that the potential original thing was supposed to be for Orden Karis to just die, but then Ballas decided, I have a better idea, and decided at that point that he was going to utilize this killer as the ship Cephalon for his plan, because I keep going back to it, and the more that I get into this, I'm telling you, without Ballas, there's no Tenno. It's crazy when it comes right down to it. Like, the Tenno, they have to have been part of his plan. They have to have been. All right, here we go. Yeah? have an energy pizza, the Frost. Okay. You know, I wonder. I imagine he probably doesn't have the snow globe augment on his no. It's finally time. I mean, this is it. This is the quest, the quintessential Warframe quest right here.
A new quest is available in your codex.
We got the gamma cord too. Now I have a ribbon for it. So it's not in my other, not in this one, but on my other character. So I the gamma cord's not too bad on that. But vanilla frost ice cream. I think so too, Hawks. That's my personal opinion too. Like that's given what Ballas was able to achieve. Like you don't. Ballas is notable within Orican lore. There are very few others that are notable. You know, you have other executors in there, but you don't. I don't think we know all seven. Do we know all seven? I know we know a fair bit of them. But I guess the point is that it's interesting that he plays such a key role, and obviously it's because of his uniquely gifted brain and abilities, you know. So I could absolutely see them because he probably got a lot too, right? I mean, he probably got preferential treatment in a lot of situations, especially whenever he was able to come up with things. The Warframes in general, like he was probably given in the same way that the Orican was able to present. You know, perfect example is that you know he's the one that gives Protea to Parvos as a gift for the Spectre technology, right? So with that in mind, like, yeah, I think there's at least I thought there was 5 of them that we knew, or that we could assume at least. I'll have to look that up. You might be right though, Hester. I can't remember. Let's see. Is this a solo quest? Oh man, here it comes. Oh, I gotta make sure we got some stuff on here. It's the spy mission. Yep, got some shade. Nice, nice. Mhm. Yes. Just gonna need to do one little thing here. Just 1 minute. Make sure I have enough of these. Yeah, I mean, in it. Now again, I personally believe. Hello, we need help breaking up the thing. Oh, I can do that. Well, oh no, I can't. Oh, this character, I don't got anything. Crap. trying to think of where all that information can be found quickly. Whilst I'm doing that, yes, time to get my operator.
Who destroyed the Organ? Your way of life. Who do you hunt, Shadow, to cleanse your despair in their blood? Sever their heads, yet they rise again. Someone has hidden the Tenno essence, their truth from you. Lotus. I know where she hides the Tenno heart. A womb in the sky, forbidden to my kind, but where you will take me. I am Hunhao, sentient destroyer of worlds. By your hand, expose their heart. By my edge, cleave it beating from its nest.
Love that scene.
The sentient Hunhao has grown strong again, and his thoughts have invaded my own. Worse still, he has enlisted the Stalker to find the reservoir, a weak point of all Tenno, a place I hid long ago. I fear the Stalker is on the cusp of finding this place. Do not let this happen.
Okay. Oh man. God, this mission sucks. Oh yeah. He's there. He's Hunhao's vessel now.
The Grineer's excavations have disturbed Hunhao's tomb. They've awakened something evil, bent on Tenno destruction. Infiltrate the Grineer systems to find out what they know. It
Probably-
may lead us to the Stalker.
Should I have used Bolt for this?
The Grineer expedition has uncovered pieces of Hunhao, fragments of his body. For Hunhao, every part of him is connected to his singular mind. Is this how he's invading my mind?
Don't know. I do not know. Actually, kind of says a lot. Man. So wait, if Hunhao is part of the Lotus, right? Right? Follow me on this one. Oh. If Hunhao is a part at least, and the Lotus had some interaction with the man on the wall, is Hunhao susceptible to? Yeah, he got a new, yes. Stalker got a new voice. I get why they did it. It makes a lot of the stuff that he's saying a little bit more coherent. But I was always under the impression that, like, the whole idea, the reason why he was incoherent was because, you know, like the limitations that he had with a crushed neck. Wow, you're beefy. Oh no, that's just because this weapon's terrible. That's all. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, do you think that, like, that connection
Trigger the alarms now, and they will start destroying the data.
allows for a possible corruption point? Oh. All right. Wish me luck, everybody. I wouldn't think we're going to see the Stalker Child again for a while. Don't quote me on that. I mean, obviously, they could you could decide to bring it up whenever they feel it's going to be relevant. But I feel like there's just so many other storylines right now that they could. I don't know. I'd be okay. Time for me to shut up. Hmm? Come on, Shade. Thank you. Is this still on? Nope. Shit. No, it is the other side. Shade. Shade. Can you? Come on. Yeah, that's it. Yes. Hmm. Doop, doop, doop.
This data vault has already been.
One down.
The data is damaged, but there could be a message here.
Okay.
I need another data sample to piece it together.
The Tenno Hive has corrupted your precepts. With love, I will destroy them and make you right again.
You will never find them.
Hun Hao.
But I see your mind. I already have found them. You owe me their lives.
That's such a weird picture. Because it's like, it's the Lotus speaking. Like, I never really noticed that before. But it's like, it's not the Lotus, but it's her form. And like, even the mouth is moving on it. That's crazy. That's something I didn't notice ever before. I thought that the mouth didn't move, period. I just thought it was like kind of almost like it was like kind of a vision that she was getting. And it very well still could be that. But like I said, I found that really weird that like they animated the mouth on it. I don't know if that's something that had to happen. Or... Hello. Take that. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I could see that there's more to all the stories. There's more to it yet. Not sure how he didn't hear this, but I'll just take advantage of that because I could use the stealth affinity. Need to buy more scanners. I need my Ortis pieces. You must understand. Gotta have them. Oh, you didn't see me. Oh, this thing sucks. We're gonna get the master rank on that one, like through the osmosis of the other weapons. I could have sworn it said to go that way. What? Map's been doing some weird things here recently. Okay. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Excuse me.
The target console is nearby. If you trigger the alarms now, the enemy will start destroying data.
Might as well not let them know I'm coming like right away, you know? Oh, this one I think sucks even worse than the other one. You know what? This is the one you have to swim. Or no, this is the one you gotta... Yeah, can you swim it? Because doing the whole parkour thing really sucks. Beep, beep, beep. It's like amazing that nobody heard that. I'll take it. Doop, 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 doop. Excuse me, I gotta... Just a second. Pardon. Thank you.
That's what I was looking for. I can code the rest of the message. This is bizarre. It's for me. I need a moment to contact this person. Get to extraction.
Oh, yeah. Now we're gonna get some more data on the old times. Back in the day. The stuff that we don't remember. I am shocked that I was able to get both of those out. Oh, that poor guy. I mean, I'm all right with killing him and all, but it's like a brutal beheading. And he was just chilling, you know? Probably thinking about what he was going to do this weekend. I wonder what Grenier do on the weekends. Do they have weekends?
Another job well executed.
Yeah, I got that one this morning. Hey, do you remember the old war? No. What? What are you talking about? And then that's it. It's almost like a little tease. Yeah, that other one that you're talking about, yeah, that one really sucks.
The message you uncovered
I
is
did get the
often
two better
helpless.
ones.
I do not trust the person who wrote it, but we are out of options.
Uh-oh. Guess we're going to have to figure it out. Let's just make sure we didn't get any new things upgraded so I can put a different weapon on. Unfortunately, that's going to be a big no. Let's go find the sentient fragments. Yep. Well, I mean, pretty much everybody in the Warframe at this point is that guy.
Why? You know I've always had my ear to the kennel. Those dogs don't have a clue what kind of bone they've dug up. But I do. Shall I show you? Don't worry. You can trust me this time.
Well, what I want you to potentially postulate is the idea that the reason why the operator doesn't have these memories is because they were never there in the first place. See, because I can't help but think that when we see what is presumably at least a portion of the downfall of the Orcan capital. It's interesting that unless that scene is meant to influence by showing some kind of untruth, which is possible, in reality, in that scene, you could easily make the argument that not only are there no Tenno there, it seems like we got the man on the wall using our Tenno's form. Now, is it the operator or just the clone form? It's really up to you to make that decision. Then you have that. You have 5 other black-eyed children who, man, they're looking a lot more like the man on the wall at the end of the Whispers in the Walls quest specifically that I went over today. Like that. It's because they keep turning it seems like their eyes are getting darker and darker. Said in the quest I did today, if you get a chance, if you have free time, you want to replay the Whispers in the Walls at the very end, tell me what you think of the eyes. I don't know Aventus, but I mean, I could absolutely see it could be in just some obscure thing somewhere. Must you put a grenade on my leg? So, I guess it's a very, because so much of Warframe's. All right, I'm just going to stop this for a second. I'm going to say to you all that I think in ways, like we have been saying for literal years, that Warframe's lore is exceptionally vague, right? Like, and every new quest seems to bring just a bunch of new questions, some answers, but a lot of new questions too, right? I mean, wouldn't you agree? And I think at some point down the line, and I don't know when, but I think somebody at DE that was a portion of the storyboarding crew, or was the direct person writing the thing, or what, I don't even know, like had some influence within the story, was like, you know what? Everybody always says that our lore is so vague. Let's run with that. Because if you think about it, the entire concept, like the interesting aspect of the Hex quest and Whispers in the Walls, is kind of all about who's who. Which Entrati is this? Who's this person? That's like the underlying like mystery that's been continuing on. And you could make the same kind of like idea from the new war with the operator. Like, okay, what is the operator exactly then? And then you get into some of the stuff that they relayed in the KIM, the kinemantic messages. And this concept of the void clone, man, is killing me anymore. It's driving me nuts. I wish I would have never read that, because it's just falling into line with so many other things that I don't like it. I mean, that's where it's already at, I feel like. I mean, isn't that the big thing with Whispers in the... I mean, like, if you get deep into it, the concept at the end is, who are you speaking to? I think in the surface level is meant to tell you, like, there's this like surface level story of the Hex Quest where Entradi wants you to embrace the Hex through love, and that's going to be how they defeat the indifference. And that sounds great, and you do it at the very end, and it's all wonderful. The problem is, it goes completely against everything that Entradi is saying up to that point. It doesn't make any sense. Everything that we know about Albert Entradi is telling us, in fact, within the quest itself, he tells us that we need to be indifferent. That he specifically says it in his entire, Albert Entradi's entire situation. Everything that we know about him is him essentially not giving a shit about any of the things that he's experimenting on or dealing with, as long as it goes towards the goal, the ends justifying the means, right? And like I said, within that quest itself, he even says that to you. And then at the very end, he completely changes his tune and says, now emotionality is the way, and you got to connect with these. I wanted you to kill all these people, but actually what I really wanted you to do was connect with them. What? That doesn't make any sense. Not to mention the fact that there's other clues specifically, like, and I think DE specifically put them out. The major one is the fact that the Albert Entradi who was getting the shit kicked out of him, who's all beat up, is gone on the Zariman. The one that we see on the Zariman and the one that we see back in 1999 when he comes back is completely injury-free. And that's what I've said, and that's actually what... Well, and so, Lord Sin, so this is exactly what I'm saying right there. We don't know who's who. Like, there is some aspects that you could make the argument, oh, well, maybe it was the indifference that was the one that was telling them to do that. But then even the indifference himself, or itself, in Rusalka's voice on the Zariman says, why do you care about what happens here? And Entradi wants to destroy all of them, wants to kill them all. I don't think it was Entradi on the Zariman either. I don't think it was Entradi at the end of the quest either. And if you want some confirmation, right? Here's what you do. Ready? In fact, we'll do this whenever. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do the new Techrot stuff, right? But also, if I'm not mistaken, the Hex Quest is going to be replayable. So if it is, we'll replay it on Wednesday too, and I'll go over all the little things that are in there that. But see, within the comments, do you see what I was saying about it's a whodunit? And that's what I think DE is like. They've like embraced, like they've turned it into that. Now I'm going to do one better. This upcoming thing that we're going to be talking about in the video takes that concept and pushes it exponentially. It's going to take it to a very uncomfortable place. Maybe that's what I'll do too. You know what? Maybe we'll start with doing the hex quest again. That's actually not a bad idea, right? I like that. I like that a lot. All right, let me get. Sorry. This is what happens. Might as well pick up Smash Rank here too, huh? I don't even know if I had any mods on this gun yet. Maybe a few. Mr. Meeseeks! Oh, well, you missed the Natah quest. You missed, I mean, it all depends. If you're talking about just random, interesting lore ideas that either myself or the chat is putting out here, you actually missed a fair bit. If we're talking about just like Warframe quests, you missed like Natah, and we beat the crap out of Tau Regor. That was fun. And then we're doing the second dream right now. Frank, I might have lost my train of thought on that one. What was I talking about? You said it says like what, Siege? Unlike in Trotty, or I guess more like Wally, we don't punish you for being late here though. It's okay in our world. It's as long as you made it. But I mean, Chad, I think I explained as best I can about the whole whodunit thing, right? I mean, I really, that's one of the things that really, it's got me so much with the, like right now, Warframe lore just, it has me by the groin and it's just, it won't let go. Like I can think about this stuff. I mean, I can go on for a long time. There's all kinds of little interesting ideas.
Of course, I could just tell you where it is, but what fun would that be? So keep your eyes peeled. If you have eyes, that is. That's it. You must smell the prize, because I know you can't see it.
See, that's another thing, too. So check this out. He calls us Tenno, and he says that he doesn't understand that the Tenno, when you cut one open, didn't have... didn't have eyes. So he doesn't know that the children are the Tenno. He thinks the Warframes are the Tenno. And I think a lot of people believe that. So it also makes you question if it's the Warframes who people are perceiving to be the bad ones, right? Were there any Tenno even there? Oh, shit, really?
You were born, but now you know.
Well, I got my butt kicked. I wasn't even expecting that.
Yes, getting warmer.
All right, last time I was just screwing around. I was like, let me just shoot some stuff. Maybe that's not the best idea with an unranked. Rank 11. Natah. Wow, look at that. That's a lot of damage required right there.
Can you see it? It's right there.
Yeah, it all depends if you're going to let me up. That's a problem that I've had a couple times. All right, leave me be. think you gotta hit it at the right spot. Yes. And there we go. That's the ones.
This is it. A fragment of my father, destroyed in the old war. I can use it to see him. I see the stalker stronger. Hunhow's voice within him. I see the reservoir, but I feel confusion. He doesn't know unless. Oh,
Steve's,
no.
I really like that that analogy there.
Daughter, fear has baited you to the snare.
Hello, Lando.
What was secret
Lewis?
is now known. Your Tenno, their touch. I now see the womb of the sky. My shadow now walks the path.
Arch Plumbus, yeah, that's absolutely.
What?
It's getting crazy, really.
Get out of there, Tenno.
Yes, yes, hurry, Tenno, but be careful. Last time you
That's my theory. I don't know if it's anybody else's theory about the.
But you don't remember that, do you?
There it is. See, but again, see that takes on a lot of a completely different context. If Alad V is saying that to the Warframe, because I mean, assuming that the Tenno would be the ones controlling it, but there's also the idea of the Warframes that are supposed to be have some kind of sentience left. So are they all gone? Did they not exist? Was that only like the prime, or like not the prime, but the what do you call it? The essentially, I guess it would be like the original. I don't really know. I don't know. That's what kind of it puts a lot of things into question. Okay, so check this out. Consider this for a second. What we're supposed to believe is that the emperors called the Tenno and made made this big pomp and circumstance for their victory against the sentients, right? Now, was that only for the executors? Are they the only people that got to see what was happening? Because based upon like the idea of the general public not necessarily having the ability to know that the children were actually the Tenno. I mean, I wonder if do you think like Alad V even wondered where the name came from? Like, doesn't that make like zero sense? And like, well, why do they call them that? Oh, well, they were on the Zerman. The Warframes were on the Zerman? No. I'm just like having like a leisurely stroll through Neptune here and postulating about the world. Understand, I have like a really low amount of moderation on, and it's auto moderation. I'm not doing any of that, guys. So I do apologize if it does something with your thing there. It's not my intention. But see, okay, so check this out. So this kind of always went back to my other point. Hold on, I'll shut up.
Some hidden Tenno weakness?
Goodbye, Alad. You've earned your favor. We'll take it from here.
Don't think so. I'm here to protect my investment. If that thing manages to destroy the Tenno, then where does my investment go? Now then, where is he?
So, could we then take that information and extrapolate it out to put into question every single, maybe not the Stalker or Umbra, but other warframes that were shown to have quote unquote sentience? And the reason why I say that is a couple things. It's not just that, right? But, essentially we have the concept that these, for the warframes were essentially kind of bereft of their personality anymore. And there's even information within the KIM that the Drifter talks about that says something to the effect of that when he's in them, there's nothing left of the people, just like random feelings, almost like movements they used to do and things like that. Like he can still feel that. And I actually think it's kind of a really, really cool way of how they do the emotes, right? What we're seeing here, the in-game explanation that's been given through the kinematic, is that these emotes that we see, this is a typical position that the original Rhino would have assumed often. And the same thing with this one, which is why every single Warframe has their own unique animations, because these are actually like visions or like movements that the operator can still feel, and thus can still like remember to be able to use it the exact same way they did, because there's still that muscle connection from doing it so frequently from the original Warframe. So again, Dante is the one that's crazy to me, because like you would think that Lloyd would know, would be one of these people, right? But then it comes into question again, the whole hierarchy. How far Lloyd is a servant. So unless Entradi told him what was going on, it's very possible that even he was like thought that this was a thing, and which again, if you're gonna go back to that quest and question that puts a whole new spin on things, because now you potentially have a Tenno that has had some level of interaction with the Indifference and may still be out there, because in some way he may have been shielded by Dante. Yeah, that's the whole thing. I mean, we don't know what level Lloyd even held. And he is, I mean, he's without question a servant. We just don't know. And to be honest with you, up until the very, he's treated like a servant. Like only, and then there's the other aspect of it that, like, I don't know. Again, I'm not gonna go any further. That's more from the video. I want to leave something. But let's follow the Stalker. Oh, I'm just reading this now, but yeah, Lord Sin, military, no type of transparency. Again, that's a great. You got it, and especially when you're talking about the Orkin, who are even more, if you can believe it, more secretive than like the American government and all the bullshit that goes on.
He cannot reach it alone. He needs the stalker to do it for him.
Like they're an even more higher, like structured hierarchical society than and only certain people would have access to things, and it wouldn't even be questioned. Like you couldn't, some reporter couldn't go in and say, "Oh, hey, how come the Orkin don't know about, or the rest of the Orkin society doesn't know?" In the Orkin society, it's like you just accept what they're doing. Dante is an amazing frame, super cool. One of the best designed Warframes that we've ever had, in my opinion. And when he came out, we put some time in. We put our time in. I mean, he could easily be interchanged with anything. The main reason why I use Rhino is just because it's the amount of additional faction damage you get with Roar with Rhino. If you're using weapons, especially like if you're looking to upgrade weapons while you play a quest or something, like if you have to do something that isn't a leveling specific thing, like especially for me when I'm recording stuff for videos and stuff like that, but I still want to like level weapons, and at the same time, by doing that, I look like I'm using different weapons, so it's not the same thing over and over again.
Makes sense to me. You're smart, Tenno. You'll figure out how to open it again, won't you?
I guess I'm gonna have to.
This needle pierces the sky. Natah, will we find the Tenno heart within? These puppets will not stop.
Yeah, it's Steve. They're not even letting them file the FOIA requests, much less get the information. I mean, we in America here, we're given the illusion that oh yeah, no, you can have them. You know, what do you need? Just give me like a couple weeks, and then like a couple weeks go by, and it's like, well, you know what? There's some things that came up. It's gonna be a little bit. I promise though, it's on the way.
Use this one to reopen the portal before more sentient fighters come. The void is poison to them. Cross the threshold. Go now. The sentients cannot follow.
I'm here.
Oh, don't you just hate that feeling? Makes my stomach flip. Let's see where you've landed. Find her now, console.
Wow. That is some special stuff. I love playing with crappy weapons. We're just going to get out of here. We're going to keep moving. I feel like the mission would probably be served much better if we don't try to kill everything and embarrass ourselves in the process. Doop, doop. Ah, there it is. Sweet prophet.
Exists. It was in the void all along. I knew the Lotus was powerful, but this, she erased history. We thought it was destroyed all this time. My Lotus, you make a fine villain.
And the reservoir with it. Very clever, Natah. Shadow, your path is clear.
Yeah, give me some of that energies. You know I'm going to need that extra one. Thank you. Appreciate you. And moving forward. Frank, that is grandmother who is controlling that. We were just talking about that on the member stream last night. It's interesting that you bring that up. Wait, I didn't do the thing yet, huh? I'm an idiot. Boop, boop, boop. There we go.
Hunhouse found it. The reservoir, hidden in the void. A place sentients can never reach. We must do everything to
Grandma's got some. She's something up with Grandma. Let me tell you something. Okay, let me talk at you about Grandma just for 2 seconds. maybe a little bit longer.
But what I found didn't make sense. Does this reservoir conceal some great deception?
See right there, Alad was like, what's going on?
Was done to protect them. The void is forbidden to the sentients. It's our only protection against their destroying the Tenno. Do not let Alad distract you from your mission.
Oh, they don't know the truth either, do they? How sweet. The betrayers get what they deserve. Lies from their omnipotent mother.
Wait.
I have detected a ship leaving the tower. It's the Stalker. He's on his way to the moon. You need to find a way to get off this tower and onto the moon.
That was weird. That was a little, I have to go play through this again. Something,
It seems to me that this tower is dedicated
something didn't
to
make
masking the moon's
sensies.
location in the void, yes. Why not disable the mask so that claptrap orders can pick them up? Or is that too complicated for you?
No, she didn't create it, but Grandma's got some interesting things going on with her, and you know, we were actually making the case last night, or I was making the case at least, that it's interesting because if Grandma were Entradi's wife and Eulyria's mom, a lot of the things that occurred would make a lot more sense. But that's not the case.
That's it, Tenno. Shut
Grandma
so
is
that your mouthpiece orders can lock onto your void.
father's mother.
Keep talking, Orokin called Alad V. Your silence soon.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, Grandma. You know, from the Necrolysk. Formerly known as Dagath. Or Daggeth, however she pronounces it. Which is another thing in its own right. And then there's her whole experience with Blue Kuva and what happened there. She's just been... And again, it's very weird that, why was she even in the Untimed Door in the first place? Or why would she be even doing anything with that? So, yeah. Grandma got some splaining to do at some point, but that's a video for another time because I got to do a ton more research on that before I'd be
Preparing for extraction.
ready to
Sky will be as it was meant.
present the whole story, if you will. Let's get a little,
Reservoir swells with
get some stuffies.
finally ends.
This is some old war treasures right here. Yeah, she's like, again, we need to figure out what her story is because she's a lot more significant than I even want to say, I don't know if this is accurate or not, but like, is she Agrathas's voice or is it a different voice? They sound similar, but they could be different. I don't know on that one completely. Yes. Grandma used to be called Dagath. But when the Warframe Dagath came for her, essentially, or whenever it met her, it was going to kill her, like it does everything else. But she gave it the only thing that she had possession of, which was her name, which is why she no longer goes by Dagath and why the Warframe is called that now.
Ordis actually remembers the last
Wait, no.
time
I
was
I thought
here.
Gomitru. Wait, what's
Conservative
mother's
is
name?
at critical
Yeah,
level.
Gomitru is mom's
The
name,
suspense is killing me. Lotus, you have to tell us your secret.
right?
Hey, don't cut me off.
That's Euleria.
Within the moon lies the reservoir, the secret to your
I don't know.
But the secret
Yeah,
is
there
dangerous.
is no.
It drove the
We don't.
stalker to madness. Forgive my deception. I was only trying to protect you from the same fate. Now, it is time to protect yourselves by ensuring the moon remains within the safety of the void.
We is there's no information that I know of anywhere aside from a like this like the briefest mention that Albrecht makes in just describing, kind of how the family situation was. Um, but there's no mention of the mother. I mean, if we come to find out that like Euleria was literally a creation of Entradi, that wouldn't necessarily be outside of the bounds of possibility. Like a void creation, something that he desired, given her vast knowledge and no, that's not possible. Not possible. Sorry, scratch that. Because she helped create the untimed door.
Collapse the void, Shadow, so that my fragments may attack. The Tenno hearts will beat their last.
Forgot about that little tidbit.
The void is collapsed, the reservoir will be destroyed, and you and the rest of the Tenno will be lost. Get to the void control room and stop the stalker.
Hiding the moon in the void.
Would we have really died though?
But Tenno, you must be asking yourself, where is this heart, if not in my chest?
Yeah, I mean that is about the most we get. Yeah.
The moon will be crushed by the weight of the void. The sky will be as it should be.
Void collapse. Oh no. It would be such a shame to lose the moon so soon after finding it. Of course, you could just put it back in its rightful place, couldn't you, Lotus?
Yeah, but like Chat's saying, I think that's the extent of what we know about it, Euleria's mom. Will she have some kind of relevance? I don't know. Maybe. Well, I guess it's not impossible. I don't think it's necessary either, though. If you think about it, like every Disney princess doesn't have a mom. And they seem to be in all kinds of good stories.
I didn't want to have to do this, but the collapse is imminent. If the reservoir is to survive, we need to pull the moon out of the void. Here, help me disrupt the void compasses to reorient the moon.
Well, that's true too. I would assume, though, that the way that he talks about Euleria, it sounds like it came from a marriage situation versus it being like him going and having a child or something. More like something that like kind of was like an accident, you know what I'm saying? And he was just honestly, it's possible that you might even make the case that she may have died. You know, maybe that's the reason why.
You cannot stop the inevitable.
The void compasses are all disrupted, but there is one more step. Get to the pendulum. Hurry.
What was that?
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point with the mother's eyes thing. I mean, even if it wasn't, it was most likely came from a relationship. Maybe not even a marriage. Who knows?
Sorry I can't stick around to see how this all ends, but I've got to save my
Maybe it
niece.
was just like a one night thing. Maybe that's the reason why
These pendula keep the
there's not a lot like to talk about, because maybe it wasn't like something that he was ever in a relationship with the mom. It was just a mistake, if you will, and he was the one who raised her. Now,
The security eye just destroyed a pendula.
Oh.
Try and trick it into taking out the rest.
I tried to duck. That didn't work.
That's it. The eye is taking out the pendula. Keep it up.
Get on the other side.
Last one. It's done.
Okay.
It's falling out of the void. Hold on. This will not be a smooth ride.
Okay.
Extraction as quickly as possible.
As I ride the planet with the moon. Woo.
What they need, Margaret,
Oh, here we go.
is to be destroyed. They're devils from that hell, not human anymore.
I love this part. Man, I love this part because, like I said, it just shows.
No more destruction. We can heal them. Maybe they're meant to save us.
How can you defend these devils, Margaret, after what they've done to you?
I mean,
Love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind. They won't hurt anyone. I just need more time.
My wilted love, I cannot protect you. Tomorrow you must renounce before the sun.
I always go back to it. Like, I know what Ballas did sucked, but I just look at it from, if you're looking at it from his perspective, like, he would be like, what the hell is going on? These kids who you don't know, who blinded you and messed up a bunch of other people who have crazy void powers, you're literally willing to die for them. Like, I can't protect you. Like, you got to renounce this. Like, this, you have to do this because, like, do you understand? These things, they hurt people. And they have hurt people.
The moon is back in normal space, but the reservoir is in more danger than ever. Hunhao will send his fighters, and the stalker is still coming for you. Move now.
Oh, sorry, I missed some stuff here. I mean, personally, when we're talking about the relationship thing with Albrecht, I look at it from the historical perspective when we're talking about Albrecht and Lloyd, because that's all we really have to go off of based upon their interactions in the dialogue that they use. And what we know is that the Orcan society, DE based the Orcan society off of the Roman society, right? So within the Roman society, especially amongst the most powerful, the idea of taking a wife and having children but yet having servants that would also be lovers and things like that was exceptionally common. Dare I say, accepted amongst like everybody. If you were amongst a certain like level within in society, so everything that we see, the dialogue that we're given between Lloyd and Albrecht, and how Albrecht treated Lloyd like as like a servant for a lot of the time, like that is completely in line with the historical depiction of what the Romans would have themselves done. So it doesn't really matter what your take is on the relationship or what, when you look at it from the perspective of the story itself, just from the story, it is exactly what somebody like Albrecht and Trotty would do. And dare I say, if Ballas wasn't in love to the point that he was, may have gone a similar route. And you could say the same thing about Tuval and all the other people, right? So it's just how things were. So to me, like when that thing was occurring, I know there was a lot of like kind of issues either way, but I just looked at it. I'm like, hey man, if you're historically accurate, I'm in. You can't mess with history. If this is what happened and this is how people were, then if that's the story that you're trying to tell, then that's the story you're trying to tell.
We saved the moon from a void collapse,
So,
but Hunhow can now attack the reservoir directly. He must not.
Like I said, I think it makes perfect sense in the grand scheme.
Shadow, bleed the reservoir until it is desert dry.
And I think even when we're talking about like the Illyria's mother, it's very possible that she was just some other person in society that like came in, gave him a kid, because he was of Auric and high standing, and so that he would have an heir type deal, didn't care. And then with Albrecht being the type of person that Albrecht is, like a scientist and not really having a good grip on, let's say, emotional ties and things of that nature, the concept that he could have wanted a daughter just purely.
Voices from taking hold.
This is.
You will have to dream, my angel.
See, there it is right there. To me, that line says that without the dream, right? The voices, I think we can probably assume we know who the voices are, right? At this point. And what's cool is
So perfect on the outside, but you're rotted through and through.
This is we take this route so many times, if you think about it. See, I even think Ballas may have been to the point where he believed that she was going to renounce. Just based on that dialogue right there, that like he wasn't taking it super seriously. Because I think the fact that he's still surprised about it. Oh, the point that I was going to make is this is, I think, the beginning of the route. Yeah. We take this route multiple times. We take it now. We take it in Apostasy. We take it in Chimera. So it's kind of an interesting thing. Like this particular portion right here, it becomes very significant within our Warframe career, let's say. Warframe guy, there could be something to that. Well, see, my opinion, I have my own theory on what the deal was. And I mean, it's based on context clues only. And Warframe doesn't give a lot of those to begin with. So, the idea that the thing that I believe is the deal is either not the deal or not the entirety of the deal is completely possible.
They're calling it transference. I know we are desperate, Executor, but these aren't Dark soldiers. These are golems possessed by devil minds.
Now, do you guys see what's going on here? Why this data was important? Why they had to present this portion of the dialogue? At least in my opinion, why they talked about why they after the fact. That dialogue, if you ask me, is actually before Margulis dies. That's him trying to plead in the way that he would plead. That versus, and he did it, he likes to do this kind of thing like this, almost like a psychology, like someone who is deep into the psychology of the mind would definitely appreciate the way that Ballas functions, because he likes to get his way through kind of leading people along, essentially. And by not trying to show it as, hey, you know, can you please spare Margulis like it's my girl, blah, blah, blah. He knows they would be like, heck no, she's against the law. That we can't do that. Based upon what he already knew about what they thought of him. But by trying to play to their potentiality of it being a problem, right? That this isn't a good idea. We shouldn't do this. He may have been able to save her by essentially not including the Tenno in the program. But unfortunately, he wasn't able to convince them. And then everything that we see next is what happens. Yay.
Dream. Not of what you are, but of what you want to be.
You hesitate, Shadow, but remember your despair. This is your only chance to make it end. Once we'll finish this.
If I would have spoken there, it would only ruin the scene.
You're awake now, but you're more vulnerable than ever. Get back to your ship now. You need to focus your mind to unleash your true power.
Ah, that's interesting. Okay, I don't think I've ever tried to do that before, fall through the hole. That's where essentially the Lotus comes from, right? That's where she's at. Or I'm trying to think. Do these, you know what? These do look different whenever we come back the next time. Huh, they're all opened. Well, see, it. I wonder if it's interesting because that decision right there ends up allowing him to have his kid. You know, because if it weren't for us, nothing. It would have never happened. That's an interesting little detail. I see. That's why you replay these quests. I would just leave, man. This tenant is just ripping you dudes up bad, like real bad. I want that amp. No, I guess I only level 31, so that's not that great, huh? It's crazy. What an interesting thing. Side quest, sorry. You missed the awakening, but you are going to get to see the ending. What's interesting is I'm going to play.
How much time you have? Descend into the heart of your orbiter. There you will find the somatic link.
I'm going to play this character very different from my character. She's going to be much more hostile, or if nothing else, indifferent. Well, or Lord said you could look at it, or they just kind of used what they knew and made it work. See, again, it's one of those things that if the writing team stays the same throughout, you can get away with this stuff because people can figure out old things to tie it in. And they have enough of an idea of the overall story that, like, they themselves will think, like, if they think of a way to tie something in, a new piece of content, because they've been doing the story for so long, somebody in the room, if it doesn't make sense on some level, somebody in the room is going to be like, wait a second, that that won't work because this, and this. And then, oh, okay, yeah, that's right. We can, we can figure out, let's see, okay, what about if this works? And then, like, a bunch of different people can kind of put their input on it and form a story that still works within the context of everything that's happened before it, because nobody knows Warframe lore like the DE's writers, And it's interesting too, like little things about like earlier quests. Like what's crazy to me is Kume is a perfect example. If you go back to the years ago, Kume is mentioned in 2017 in a email that we received from Konzu. But then we only what year was it that we finally we actually see Kome? Because that's was one thing that I was immediately I'm like, wait a second, this doesn't make any sense. This thing wasn't here, and it wasn't there, the shrine. But if you go back to the original email, at least the one that I still have from, like I said, it was like 2017 from Cetus. They mentioned Kume. Yeah, I mean, I just think that they're doing wonderful work. I for all the stories that are out there that I know of, and I'm following quite a few. Some I follow some stories that I don't even play. The game. I like the story for it, but I don't have time to play the game. But I still want to follow along. I think Warframe has the best story out there right now. That's just me. I could be a homer. Call it whatever you want. I'm gonna go in here and fight the stalker, but I just wanted you to know that before I go in here, that I think it has the best story. There you go. So there it is. See how they take the shrine? Boop. There it is. He's just chilling in there. He'll come soon enough. I'm coming, buddy.
Stalker, how? Get past him. Get to the link. Focus, Tenno. Use your energy to breathe life into the somatic link.
You shall not leave this place.
I'm not trying to like throw any shade or anything, because I mean it's DE's vision; they can do whatever they want. But I'm gonna tell you flat out that I really like the other voice better. He just seemed more menacing.
One more time.
So now, after everything that we've talked about today, I did a video on this a long time ago, and I still think I have no clue
No self.
who moves the frame.
No death.
I can't say it definitively. There's so many different people.
Dangling on Tenno strings. Only the Tenno's death will end your despair. All your dread.
Oh man, not Jade in this scene. That's no.
But you're asking yourself, was I one of these wretched things? You know the answer. You still hate them. You still hate yourself.
Could be muscle memory, but given how the Tenno can control the frames, it could be them. Could be the wall. It could be Man of the Wall. Could be Helminth. Could be the Lotus. I mean, here she is. I just saw that side quest. Lotus joins him. It's true.
Now we fight on two fronts, my child. The war without and the war within.
Yes. Mm. Well, dude, some of these faces are a little awkward. I'm just gonna tell you that straight up. Like, what is going on here? It looks creepy. I don't like it. Let's put some hair on this poor lady first and like see if that, man. Let's try somebody else. No, that's certainly not it. That's actually not terrible. No. Okay. I'll keep that off just for the look, if you will. Let's see, put these on. Make her look awesome. There you go. Give her a waistband. Nice. How do I give this poor young lady hair? Here we go. Yeah. Well, that's true. Maybe she should start bald. Okay. I can get behind that. Yeah, pod born and all. All right, fair enough. Okay. Yeah, I actually, you know what? Yes. How do I get her eyes? There we go. We're going to go with... She looks like Golem almost a little bit, doesn't she? We're going to have to work on the face a little bit, I think. I mean, she probably would look a lot better with hair. You gotta have some eye glow in there. Yeah, looks like they're doing both sides, so that's cool. All right, I like it. Let's just make sure she doesn't have...
A normal kid with a normal life.
Nope.
Too old to cry, and when I think of the things I used to be afraid of, I almost feel sorry for them. Too old to cry, and too young to die.
That's going to be good enough right there. I'm good with all that.
Child, so beautiful to behold.
Yeah, not yet, but at some point.
I'm confused. I thought I was...
I know. Forgive me.
This is who you really are, a Tenno. More than human, but once a child like any other. What do you remember?
Actually, Hawks, I made my original Tenno look like me. It's just a coincidence that I look like Rao. Or is it?
I remember everyone was laughing outside an airlock. This kid had a boy.
This is Rel that they're talking
I
about.
didn't think it was funny at all.
We actually see this in the Rel webcomic.
Time aboard the Zeraman 10-0 before the void jump accident. It was years before the ship was recovered. It was drifting dead in space. All her crew gone, except the children.
I don't remember how we got this outfit. It is an awesome one, though. I use it on my other character, too. I don't remember what it... Anybody else in the... Let's see.
I didn't want to live anymore. I felt guilty that I was alive. But we could do things. Extraordinary things. Maybe there was a reason we survived.
You were so brave, but the Orokin were afraid of you. The void had changed you, and you couldn't control it. No one could. They were about to destroy the orphans of 10-0, but Margulis, she loved you. She found a way.
Wait, so conceivably then it's going to be available here in a couple weeks again, right? Because all the deck stuff comes back again, right? Am I wrong on that? See, this is another one too, like Margulis. How did Margulis sing to her?
We couldn't help it. The outbursts. We hurt her, blinded her, but even then, she never abandoned us. In the dream, we found peace, and she sang to us in that cold, dark.
The Orokin murdered Margulis, used her work to create transference. Your mind projected into a surrogate strong enough to withstand your power. It felt like waking up, but it was just a lucid second dream.
I remember I told her she's like, I told you she's going to be, let's see, the most evil answers here would have been sought justice and reached for knowledge. Because people always do messed up things I guess fought with honor too, technically, but that's usually a byproduct of seeking justice or knowledge. Let's go with this one. She's going to be like the cerebral assassin.
We sensed that otherness, but we embraced it. I was free as anything. Free to learn, to experience, to mean something.
And so you became Tenno, serving the Orokin, but bound by honor. As the Tenno grew, they founded great schools, the Tenno ways. Do you see yours?
I think that's exactly what happened. That she got hit with a void beam. I mean, you know where I'm taking. Like it's even a question. Give me that energy drink.
I see a crystal.
That's always the problem with justice.
The way of Xenoreek. We believed the path to victory was to dominate the enemy. That strength of spirit could overcome any resistance.
Xenoreek will be your focus. But we have so
Depends
much
on your
more to
point
do.
of view,
Here in
SideQuest.
Orbiter, transference will be even stronger. Command the Warframes. Make whole the shattered world you've been given. Are you ready, Tenno?
Think about how many atrocities have been committed all over the world in the name of justice. Perceived justice, mind you, but justice nonetheless. That's the problem. Justice in its own right is an amazing virtue, but people use it. And I think many times they mistake it for vengeance or worse.
Yes, Lotus, I am.
He was just having a seat. Yeah, but it's always the face that it comes under. That's what everybody always does when they want to be. If you really want to be a horrible, horrible individual, what you do
A new quest is
is
available in your codex.
you essentially make everything that you're doing in the name of a cause. And then it all gets justified.
A communication awaits your attention.
Oh yeah, we'll get some broken more. Do do do. That's a good one. Yes. That was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful quest. It's one of the best they have, which is saying something these days, actually. I remember when I remember a time you really couldn't say that. Oh, man, there's tons of them. Holy shit, there's a lot of really good quests in Warframe. All accessible all the time, too, except for like a few that you can't replay. But 2 of them are actually going to be fixed. We're getting Deviri, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Orders has been 7 stars, operator. All accounted for.
You know, side quest, I really wish that there was an option. But nowadays, it doesn't matter what side of the fence that you play, that you want to play on. Misdirection, misinformation, it's so prevalent on both sides. And the other thing is like it's even being touted out as fact by, relative people that don't even know anything about it. They don't, and then, that sentiment gets pushed on, and the only true weapon that you have against all of this justice or vengeance being perceived as justice is information. You have to be willing to look at both sides of every situation and weigh all of the factors, which is probably one of the major reasons why for a large percentage of the population, and I'm not saying that uncovering bad things that the government does is bad or anything else, because it's great. It doesn't matter what government. They all have some kind of dirty play going on. But at the same time, so many people present fact when they don't have the full picture. It's really hard to know the truth of anything if you don't have all the information possible. And like, how many people that even report on news and stuff would have any kind of real like security credentials to figure out what's really going on? So it's like nowadays, a lot of it's just narratives. I wish that wasn't the case, but I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, and even then, jack of all trades, even if you see it with your own eyes nowadays, keep looking. Look at both. It takes 2 seconds to look at both sides of any perspective that you're interested in. If you think there's an injustice, it's easy. Just take a look. Find people on both sides of the spectrum, and look at their information on it, and you'll find the truth where you see things intersect, because there'll be aspects of both ends of the story that actually they link up, and that's where the truth begins. But it's like, and it's sad because like, a lot of people don't want to engage with people from the other side for whatever reason. And like, if we stop talking to each other, that's the worst. That's when it all goes away. We got to keep talking. It's just so important. I mean, we're all human beings. We're on the same planet. if nothing else, we should be able to speak to each other. Like, that's how, if we want to talk about human beings and the evolved creatures that we're supposed to be, we should be evolved enough to be able to just talk and even if you don't get what you want in the end, there's no reason to get mad. Because when emotions get in, just like with Warframe, you see it. When you start getting emotions involved in things, it becomes the concept of a lot of things becomes muddied, because an emotional mind is not a clear mind. It's I don't want to say corrupted, but it's not you, because it's flooded with chemicals. Especially in extremely powerful and emotional state, right? It's akin to almost making decisions while being drunk, because you're not yourself. You're not you. You know, you're still you, but you make decisions when you're, for those that have been, intoxicated significantly in a party and stuff like that, you do things that you would never do normally. And making decisions in an emotional state, and I would say this, remember, I'm 47. So I've done a lot of stuff. And I can tell you that making decisions, especially important decisions on an emotional state, 9 times out of 10, it's gonna backfire. If you're an emotional person, well, there's absolutely nothing wrong with being an emotional person. Emotions are what makes a person. But it doesn't mean that you should have to make all of your important decisions in that state. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you can be as emotional as a person as you want to be. And I would imagine that the people that know you best love you because of the emotionality that you portray and that you throw at them, because that's like your character. So there's nothing wrong with that at all. But like I said, we all know it because we've all been through it. When you are experiencing a high emotional state, it's very difficult to think straight. It's just how it is. And it's, like I said, it's a flood of it's a fight or flight flood of chemicals, especially if it, like I said, a high emotional state. And it's where I think the vast majority of a lot of our dialogue as a society is being generated from emotional states. And it's like probably the worst place to have it. So yeah, I mean, it's just, we just need to talk again. Communication's key. That's what it's all about. But now I'm going to get off my soapbox. Sorry about that last part there. I'm a big fan in harmony. I love people. I love the world, and I love the fact that we've been able to coexist for so long with different cultures and ethnicities, for the longest time. All these differences, but yeah, we've been able to do it. So I don't see why there's any reason why we shouldn't always strive for that. It's just me. But, I think Warframe's a really good way to look at how emotional states can really do a lot of things. They are responsible for quite a few very, very significant plot points within Warframe's story itself, especially whenever it comes in conjunction with the Void. I am not an Equinox player. Well, I mean, if you appreciate the, if nothing else, I'm only one voice, but I have been here a while and I've seen a lot. Almost 5 decades. So I've done it. But with that being said, everybody, here's what I'm going to do. We have a big week this week. Wednesday, we have the Tech Rod Encore, so we're going to do that. And we're probably the really, really, really good suggestion here of let's play, because it's going to be available. Let's play the Hex Quest first, then we'll get into the Tech Rod, because I want to play it again too. I've been fiending for some Hex Quest. You know, it'll give us some context going in, so that'll be fun. And then I will work on this character so that next week, whenever we get to our normal stream, that we can get into the war with him. So, yeah, it's I'm a Libra, just so you all know. So balance is the key to my existence. I always weigh everything. And in fact, I think maybe one of the reasons why Warframe's story speaks to me so much is because if you are a Libra, maybe you experience this too. We're always of two minds. Like, I know some people have an inner dialogue, but like I have a constant one. And in fact, that's going to sound weird, but I make a lot of my decisions by discussing with myself. Right? So with that in mind, there's always there's a back and forth. It's even with my videos, you know, like one side of me will be watching a video and like, oh man, this is really good. And the other side would be like, you see that part right there? That's, no. And then we'll have a little discussion. Is it worth me taking the time to fix it? And then that's how I get to my decisions. Yeah. So there you go. If you're a Libra, you know what's up. We're always of two minds of everything. So now, if you do experience this on the regular, just know you are absolutely not weird. It is very common. And the best thing for you to do is to cultivate a friendship with yourself. Like, you guys don't have to be on opposite ends. I look at myself as like my best buddy, because we think the same for the most part. For the most part, not always. You know, sometimes we don't. Well, Yoshi, I will tell you that I would just be very careful with that. I'm not saying that you're always going to make a bad decision in an emotional state, but you are putting yourself at risk, because the quieted mind can see all the risks potentially. Right? It's definitely interesting. You're your own best friend. You're never alone. So, all right. But with that being said, I hope you did enjoy today's interesting quests. Two of the best, I would say, and really the beginning of Warframe turning into a very narrative-centric experience. And probably, in the grand scheme, the reason why I'm here streaming in front of you. So we have a lot to give thanks for. But at any rate, hope you all have enjoyed. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day today. A wonderful rest of your week, day, sort of. And I will talk at you in the next one. Remember, Wednesday. So thank you, everybody. Take care.